Hello and welcome back to the Shed Geek Podcast. Here's a message from our studio sponsor. Let's be real. Running a shed business today isn't just about building great sheds. The industry is changing fast. We're all feeling the squeeze, competing for fewer buyers while expectations keep climbing. And yet, I hear from many of you that you are still juggling spreadsheets, clunky software, or disconnected systems. You're spending more time managing chaos than actually growing your business. That's why I want to talk to you about our studio sponsor, ShedPro. If you're not already using them, I really think you should check them out. ShedPro combines your 3D configurator, point of sale, RTO contracts, inventory, deliveries, and dealer tools all in one platform. They even integrate cleanly into our Shed Geek marketing solutions. From website lead to final delivery, you can quote, contract, collect payment, and schedule delivery in one clean workflow. No more double entries, no more back and forth chaos. Quoting is faster, orders are cleaner. And instead of chasing down paperwork, you're actually running your business. And if you mention Shed Geek, you'll get 25% off all setup fees. Check it out at shedpro.co/ShedGeek. Thank you, ShedPro, for being our studio sponsor, and honestly, for building something that helps the industry.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Shed Geek Podcast here from sunny Metropolis, Illinois, just north of Paducah, Kentucky. Sounds like a lot of you guys know that place. Heard about it once or twice. We're fighting both in Paducah, Kentucky and Lancaster County for the shed capital of the world and the quilt capital of the world. And FYI, we actually have the National Quilt Museum. So I'm just saying, we're winning that battle a little. Today I'm joined by Cord Cook. You guys know him, love him. He's got the beard on point today. The hair is on point today. Looking good, my friend.
Well, I do my best. You know, I try to get myself in good, video worthy order once a month, and you're catching me on day one of doing the requisite grooming and such. So, I'm doing my best.
Well, before we get rolling, just a couple of things so you know how to stay plugged in over here with Shed Geek. Feel free to give us a call anytime. If you have questions, comments, if you'd like to be a show guest, we're always looking for show guests. We believe everybody has a story and we want to know yours. We thank you guys, whether you sell products or services in the industry, for being part of the network by either coming on and doing a podcast episode or advertising. If you want to get in touch with us, just dial 618-309-3648. That's 618-309-3648. That is my personal number. Email us at info at ShedGeek. That's info at ShedGeek.com. Of course, check us out. You can fill out any of our contact forms over on ShedGeek.com. If you'd like to sign up for the newsletter, please check out our Facebook page. If I could ask you to do me any one favor, it would be to go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go and like and follow the Facebook page, the Shed Geek Facebook page. We appreciate your participation in that. Request that we do the same, and we will absolutely follow and like your things back. We are just like that. We'll even throw a review on your website. We've done that a couple of times. So check out the Shed Sales Professionals group as well. If you guys are missing out there on the private Facebook pages, I really like those pages. I feel like that those, along with others in the industry, do a lot to help move it forward in a very organic way. Of course, the landline, if you've got a Plain community friend who would like to reach out or find a way to listen, they can just dial 330-997-3055. That's 330-997-3055. Be sure to share that with them. They can actually go in and save their spot and go back and listen to another podcast. And actually, if you're looking for older podcasts, we actually do a registry on our newsletter. So you can go back and look and see who it was, how long it was, when it aired, what episode number it is. So be sure to get a hold of Deanna, DEANNA at ShedGeek.com, and she'll get you signed up for the newsletter. While you're there, go click on these blogs and click on these digital ads. That gives me a lot of favor with advertisers, and it goes a long way. So that's a small way that you can help us out. Hot item of the day. Check out the hat. We're trying to rock some new swag from time to time, and we got on Cricket Valley Structures here. That's what she shed. You know, that's what she shed. Cord, I like it. You'll know them as the owners of Country Classic Rentals, the freedom of ownership, one of our sponsors in the RTO space. If you want to own your own rent-owned company, don't waste the hassle of contract management. Call today at 937-483-4588, Country Classic Rentals. And we also want to give a shout out to our newest partners, Hirschberger Lawn Structures and Playmore Play Sets, Striker Hunting Blinds, exclusive providers of swing sets and hunting blinds for the Shed Geek podcast, and Pittsburgh Paint. Very excited to bring those guys on as exclusive partners for paint coverings as well too. So excited about what they've already experienced, and looking forward to a good long partnership. For those of you who want to know more about our advertising options, give us a call. Okay, now that we got all that stuff out of the way, Cord, and we still got a few people on listening.
Hopefully.
What do we want to talk about today?
Well, I think, to start with, really, in my mind, it is getting excited, getting prepared for a little bit of a shakeup on the Friday episode. So this show is going to air on a Friday and kind of be the kickoff of the two of us not separating. Obviously we're going to be in the same office with each other and continuing to do good work behind the scenes and partner and move the industry forward. But when it comes to podcasts, I think, putting out a product both on Wednesdays, your show, Shed Geek, that is that's you, right? That's introspective and that is so very deep thinking and the deep relationships, and not saying that Fridays won't be the same. But my mind always goes to, where's the meat, right? Where's the, how do we get down to that thing that dealers and manufacturers and salespeople and haulers, and, how do we get to that little nugget of value, that people can integrate into, their routine or their business every day. And so I think kind of taking that, business mentality, I suppose, or that, that kind of a foot forward, so to speak. Again, not to say, of course, we want to get to know everybody and build friendships and relationships and all of that as well. But kind of, just taking
a separation in a sense of like, topics, conversations. We had Sam on Fridays. We appreciate Sam and all the efforts and those that he did. As a matter of fact, he served really good, especially from that hauler recognizable face, of being able to, kind of talk about the details of those things. If you want to get into the generalized stories, and listen, if you're a hauler out there who wants to be more involved, has something to offer, maybe that's from a consultative perspective, maybe that's from a just occasional appearance perspective. If you're someone who has an expertise and a gift for gab, contact us. We'd love to talk with you, because that's one area that we're weak in. I owned a truck and trailer at one point. I actually drove a truck in the military, but I can be honest with you, I do not do what you guys do, and I don't know the ins and outs of it quite so well. I understand it, but someone who can speak intelligently on it, we welcome you. Feel free to reach out. We'd love to talk with you. So it separates those two things. And of course, with the wrap up of the Monday show over at Steel Kings, love those guys. They're seeing some business changes for themselves and growing more. And that's the cool thing about opportunity. I'm super happy for them, to be going the directions that they're going. And they're friends of ours at the show, and we'll probably start to wrap that down. If not, by the time this episode comes out, you'll hear about it on Mondays. And we're just going to lay low for a little bit. Let's give it about 6 months, see what it looks like. And if we want to get back into a steel conversation, post-frame conversation, Barndo, maybe we should do that. But while they're growing, we want to give them the space to do that, because they've been excellent for a year. And that's all we really asked for, and they've killed it. So thank you Jared and Eric, for all that you have done and continue to do. We appreciate you guys. It means a lot to us that you're friends of the show and continued friends of the show as we move forward.
Hey, Shed Geek listeners. I'm Joe Ignis, owner of Velocity 360. At Velocity, we know the frustration of spending thousands on ads with no visibility on what's actually converting. Most leads simply get lost or never called. Ask yourself, does your team respond to every lead within 60 seconds? If they're unresponsive, do they follow up at least 14 times? The reality is your team should be closing, not chasing. They don't have enough time to follow up like they should. All that manual follow-up is exhausting, and it distracts from your hottest leads. Problem solved. Velocity 360 is a white glove, turnkey, shed-specific CRM solution for your sales team. We increase your lead response rate to over 60% without any extra effort from your staff. They just need to pick up the phone and start the conversation once the lead responds. We give you total visibility. You'll see your conversion rates, average sales price, and exactly which ads generate the most revenue and more. No more flying blind. We speak Shed. It's all we do. With 100% American-based support, we build the system for you. We don't just show you how it works. We build it how you want it to work. Stop leaving revenue on the table. Call us at 865-672-8175 or visit velocity360crm.com/sheds to book your call today.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we want to, as they are focused, on that growth, on that next kind of phase in their business, we still want to have that regular presence. So I know both of us, whether it be the Wednesday show or the Friday show, have both had those conversations. And so, I very much look forward to, continuing to have either co-host, guests, whatever that might be,
Absolutely.
whatever their schedule allows for. So I mean, just tremendous work. And actually, you mentioned Sam there too. We're trying to, he and I have been going back and forth a little bit. So trying to pin something down where we can do a little bit of a preview of what the Shed Haulers Brotherhood, especially in the charity space, has going for this year, has planned. Of course, it seems like every event, every fundraiser, continues to top the last. And so obviously want to stay plugged in with that. But as you can imagine, both with, all of our ventures around here. And of course, Sam, being on the road quite a bit and here and there.
Busiest man I know. I tell you, he is the busiest guy out there.
Without a doubt.
But super thankful, for the friendship and relationship that we've had with him. And, obviously big supporter of what he continues to do. We want to stay plugged into that as best we can and as he allows. And I will be the first one to listen to an episode with you and Sam. I can't wait to hear that. That'll be good. But outside of just getting on here and saying, hey, this is what we're doing. We wanted to offer some value today in some conversation. And me and you sat back and arm wrestled over what the topics were going to be today. And we just came to a conclusion on why don't we talk about some of the stuff that we see like on the Shed Sales Professionals page. These are questions that come up, right? And maybe we can just address those on a deeper level, if you will, for those who just want to tune in today. So we're not going to keep you on here terribly long, but wanted to address some thoughts. Obviously, you guys are aware that we've started Shed Geek Consultation. And if it's not out by the time this podcast comes out, we're going to start rolling out who those are. We're excited that we've got our third official client on, already. And that's exciting. We've got, 4 partners helping us out as consultants. And we're excited to put them out there, their bios. And man, I'll tell you the best thing I got, and this isn't just promotional, but informational, is whenever one of the clients said, this is far greater than I ever paid for. So it was an investment. What I've experienced so far is better. If that continues, then I think we've got a future in this. If not, we'll fold up shop. But you know what? It's been really good to be able to help people. But I think that's just the cool thing about getting yourself around. You've heard this before, Cord. If you're the smartest guy in the room, better get in a different room. And I feel blessed to be around these consultants because I mentioned it on our phone call that we all had together. I feel like the weak link here. I feel like I can learn so much myself from these guys. They're just really seasoned. I'm a big fan of them and excited to partner with them and hopefully provide solutions for people who need a solution. So I'm overall giddy and excited. Quarter 4 was rough. It was rough. We just had so much stuff going on, so many details to get through. But 2026, the windshield looks bigger than the rear view mirror. So we are moving forward, and we are making progress. I'm super excited for 2026 over here. So let's talk about what we want to add in terms of conversation and content value today. And that is, if we were putting on a consultant hat today, Cord, and I've got this this hat on today, and I'm talking to a manufacturer. What are the strengths of consulting a manufacturer versus consulting, say, a dealer?
Well, I think from a manufacturer's perspective right now, there is no better time. Obviously I've not been in the shed industry for the 20 years, 30 years, 40 years that some of our listeners have under their belt. But from a macro perspective, there has not been a better time, as far as I can tell, in the shed industry to be that small, to medium, I suppose. It depends where you break those lines at, but I think we would probably say anywhere from, call it, 2.5 million up to 8 million or so. Maybe you've got a couple dealer locations, whether you control those yourself or not. But that sort of small, verging on that medium manufacturer, there's just no better time to be lean from day one, to be operationally sound from day one, to own your assets, to own your customer experience. That doesn't mean that you can't subcontract certain services, right? I mean, if in your area it makes more sense to subcontract the hauling, or whatever that picture may look like, but the control, the ownership, and that lean growth, the growth that looks great, frankly, on balance sheets, right? Looks great whenever someone is evaluating a company, because I think the market is telling us that in the next 3 to 5 years, we've said consolidation a lot, but what does that mean for a manufacturer? Well, for the small manufacturer, it means if you are controlling and owning your market, and you are growing in a lean way that is appealing to someone who could come in and make that buyout in the next couple years ahead, there is absolutely no better time to be thinking about what that scale looks like up front, right? Is it worth the initial investment? I mean, these are consultative, these are big business strategies that you kind of need to decide on, and kind of decide in the pit of your stomach, right? Because, some of it is going to be, is it worth investing in scalability early? And my answer, obviously it's different for each company, and you need to dig in, but generally the answer is yes, right? The answer is go be that solution. Whether it is a consolidation of a medium manufacturer, that $20 million, 16, 15, 16, up to 20, 25, even $30 million manufacturer who wants to consolidate into your market as a small manufacturer. Or maybe, right, you scale well enough, you build the brand, you do the content work from day one, you invest in all those things up front, and before you know it, you are the medium manufacturer, right? And then you're the one who has grown lean, has the systems, has the operations, has the people in place. Next week we will have the episode with my business partner Shalisha Wood, coming on and kind of talking about her experience in operations and
franchising. I love the discussion around franchising, because one of the things that I want to specifically address is franchise marketing, franchising your social media. And the question that I want to pose ultimately is, can vertical integration exist today completely, from POS, ERP, marketing solutions, e-commerce solutions, rent-to-own financing, management of dealerships, locations, lots and ultimately logistics and legal, and like there's a whole lot here. And this takes me back to an unnamed uh, um, manufacturer that had about 300 locations, 65 company owned, 235 independent, roughly thereabout. And when I was talking to the director of sales, they said, one of the hardest things is to manage the independent contractors, branding or social media marketing or marketing in general. Meaning, if you put something out that's not consistent with the brand, well, we can't really control that because we can't go to an independent contractor and say, hey, this is not the best way to represent our brand. Actually, what you're saying is not something that our social media team would put out there. So now you're stuck in again, we're wearing the forwards facing hat here. So we're having this consultant, whether it's wanted or unwanted, we're discussing our opinions on a larger manufacturer or whatever, and how they should control that.
Running a business means balancing constant daily demands with the pressure to keep growing. The workload, the decisions, responsibility, it never stops. Newfound Solutions is here to take some of that off your plate, giving you the tools and support to move forward with confidence. Have you always wanted to start your own rent-to-own company but don't quite know where to start? RTO Partners is here to help. Overwhelmed by all the moving pieces in running your own rent-to-own program? RTO Smart is a software that encompasses everything you need on one platform. Or leave the rent-to-own up to us and focus on what's more important to you. Newfound Rentals has you covered with traditional rent-to-own options for your customers. Shed Connect understands the complexity of the digital marketplace. We take the hassle out of online sales. Newfound Solutions, 4 powerful sub-brands, helping you succeed across every aspect of your business. Visit newfoundsolutions.com today and let us do the balancing so you don't have to.
And I was just sitting here looking at this. I pulled up SOIC.ai. I don't know how you actually pronounce that. It's a new AI. So I don't know. Somebody probably knows, and I sound like an idiot here. There's so many of them between Claude and Sora and everything else, Chat GPT, all that good stuff. But anyway, this particular website is talking about franchise SEO and listing management. Guess what, Cord? Dominate Google's local 3-pack rankings. That's a whole podcast in itself, but we can address that, right? Reputation and reviews, respond in minutes, scale customer trust at every location, social media automation, keep brand voice consistent while driving local engagement, and AI agents, autonomous digital workers that save time and boost ROI. That's a whole separate podcast itself too, and it's either going to be really listened to or really ignored. I'm not sure. But what sticks out to me in this that I wanted to discuss was Facebook pages, because that's what he was kind of talking about, was their social media page. Like, we don't own it. We don't franchise that. And this is consignment. This is not just in time, floor plan, 30, 60, 90. I'm talking about consignment. I'm not talking about inventory that's floor planned or whatever. I'm talking about someone brings you, 10, 12, 30, 40, 50 buildings, whatever it is, and you sign up with them. And then the request is, hey, we need you to put out social media content, but we want it to be in brand with ours. Just give me your overarching thoughts.
Well, you have to provide it. I mean, that's just the bottom line, right? Like, yeah, if you want, whether you are, again, it's from which perspective you're saying this, right? Like, if you're the big brand, right, the big B brand, the manufacturer that is providing those consignment sheds, you want nested control. You want the ultimate control. It's different across each kind of platform, the way that they do that. But like, you want to create a nested control of every platform. You can even use, one of the social media management third-party apps to kind of have that as well. But, but here's the problem is, like, a lot of the independent dealers are better at this than the manufacturer is, right? That's the issue. The issue isn't, yes, of course you want.
Do you think that's in particular when it's owned by a plane community who doesn't have access maybe to the social media channels, or
No.
do you think that that's even non-plane community?
Across the board,
Okay.
100% across the board, right? Because it's like from a centralized perspective. I mean, I've been in franchising. It is very, very hard to capture the culture of the place, to capture what actually, I looked at a map the other day. Supposedly there are something around the neighborhood of 18 kind of subcultures in the United States. You can break them down into 5 major categories. And of course, we can kind of imagine what that is: Northeast, Southeast, Midwest, Mountain West, Pacific, right? Are effectively what we're talking about. But, it's hard. It's hard. It's a big operation. You're effectively running an agency in house, and you're running an agency that has to genuinely care about feedback from their network, has to have an appropriate, two-way communication that isn't jumping on a round robin, phone call with 60 dealers once a quarter. No, like the problem is that, a lot of of course, as with anything, a lot of dealers aren't using the tools, right? So then you're like, hey, I want you to use the tools that we're providing, and it's not enough content. You know what I mean? It's not enough. It is not maybe regionally specific or locally specific, or however you need to sell best, right? And then the opposite side of that coin is you have dealers who are far better at all of the consistency, the content creation, understanding what people in their area, in their culture, in their region, in their locality actually latch onto, understanding the narrative of like what is happening in their community. Like, is there a need for affordable housing, right? Is this a place where tiny homes would succeed because of a genuine need that exists, which is the case, in the periphery of many of the metropolitan areas in the U.S. It's not affordable.
I'm going to read a little farther down on this SOCI.com. Why franchise marketing is harder than ever. This is hitting the notes that you're singing here. The bullet points: corporate teams struggle to enforce brand consistency without stifling franchise autonomy. Right? Franchises want more marketing control, but lack the tools and experience to execute effectively. This is my favorite. Consumer expectations have shifted, and they want local, relevant, and personalized experiences, not generic corporate promotions. Big one.
Well, yeah. So
the result: franchises go rogue. Corporate marketers scramble for control, and revenues left on the table.
That's right. So you tell me, Shannon. So if you are, we're not going to call anybody out today. There's, but if you are a manufacturer that has, I don't know, right? Where's the cutoff? 50, 60, 100, who, pick a number, right? But you're a manufacturer that operates nationally or quasi nationally in 2/3 of the country, or half the country, or 1/3 of the country. All those are huge areas with so many different cultures and localities and things that matter to people. So are you telling me that for each of those subregions, localities, you're going to have a devoted team of 8 to 10 people who are actually producing stuff that matters and is relevant and is coaching up, because it can't just be all from corporate, right? Like you're telling me you're not going to put, go ahead.
I think you can even take relevant and things that matter and change those words out with things that are personal, things that are native to the region, and things that local people understand. Whereas from a corporate perspective, we maybe get it right or get it wrong, from time to time. But not to advocate for the devil, but to be a devil's advocate in this particular situation. The question for me, it starts to be like, if you're bringing 10 to 20, 50 sheds, you're already investing in all of this inventory. Is it fair? I'm just asking. Hat forward. Right now, I'm consulting for manufacturer. Okay, so if you're a builder here, I'm on your side right now. All right. Is it? So I'm going to pretend to be dealer or manufacturer. Your dealer in this moment. I'm bringing you $200,000, $300,000 worth of inventory. You're telling me that I've now got to go out and build you a website, run your ads, create a Google ad spin, or maybe I can co-op. But like now I've got to create these Facebook pages. Now I've got to pay your lot rent. Now all of that, if I could do all of those things, that would be really good because I would have a lot of control over the branding. But is that realistic, Gord? I guess is what I'm asking. Like, where do you meet the antithesis of that when a manufacturer's like, man, I'm already bringing all the brochures. We offer tons of customer service. We need you guys to pick up a little bit of the tab to promote yourselves because you are ultimately an independent contractor.
This episode is brought to you by ShedSuite, the complete shed business management software. From inventory and quoting to e-commerce and delivery scheduling, ShedSuite keeps your whole operation running smoothly. Today, leading shed businesses are focusing on digital marketing and building their online presence because that's where the customers are. That's why ShedSuite now offers full-service marketing. Everything from ads, social media, and SEO to stunning websites, branding, video, and even photography. The best part? Your website pulls straight from your ShedSuite inventory. Update it once in ShedSuite and it's live. No more managing two systems like with WordPress or WooCommerce. Ready to grow? Go to ShedSuiteServices.com to learn more and schedule a call. Let's grow together.
Well, it's perfectly fair to say that. It's just, is it successful? Right? If you're just saying what's fair, yeah, that's fair. How successful do you want them to be? Right? How successful have you been at creating an actual brand identity? I mean, the shed industry is completely and totally lacking this on a national level, even mostly on a regional level. Your normal consumer cannot tell you. You know, they may know that the lot down the road from them because it in particular has good signage or whatever else. They may be able to tell you that, like, well, there is again, I don't want to, whatever. There's an old hickory lot, right? And they can tell because it has signs, right? But like, do they know how far flung? Do they understand? Like, is it in their mind a brand that is so well established? I would argue no. None of the shed companies in the industry, except for Tough Shed, and it's only that way because they're at Home Depot, right? Like they are in front of people, being marketed to people via this national home improvement store budget and everything like that. But the long and the short is, like, is it fair to ask that? Well, sure it is. That's a fair question. I'm dropping off inventory at no cost. You are being asked to sell for a percentage of that. Yeah, it's a fair
Can I
question.
at least get you then to dedicate yourself to my product by A, don't sell other products. B, don't sell other shed products. And under A, don't sell other products could be carports, gazebos, playset, anything else that you name, right? Two, don't sell other sheds, a competing shed, which you can't tell a company not to do. You can't tell a dealer because they're their own independent company whenever they have to establish their own EIN, when they have to establish their own sole proprietorship, partnership, or S Corp or C Corp or whatever they are, right? So like they're independent, they're autonomous. However, if we're going to provide you with all this free inventory, perhaps we need to create in a non-compete also a signature that says we won't do the rest of these things. And that's fine because you kind of control the experience, right? The downside is if they're not making lot rent and making a living, like it's kind of hard to tell them not what to do unless you say we're going to pull our sheds unless you agree to this. And it's really hard to come back later. If you don't do it when you open them up, it's really hard to come back later. And we've used some unique tools and tricks to try and like get a manufacturer to understand why it is beneficial to come over, especially if you're hosting ads on a corporate site, and then you're dispersing those out to the regions in which people are in, that becomes beneficial because you pull on the SEO value, the Google Ads value, and everything of like a corporate site. Assuming that the site, we're going to always operate with the assumption that the company is going to do the right thing and share those lead distributions to their partners in those regions, right? We've heard horror stories where people don't, but we're just going to ignore that and assume you're going to operate on a level of like doing the right thing. Give those leads to them, then it becomes very beneficial. Like you can franchise your social media pages, and it makes good sense all of a sudden because it's like we're going to harvest meta ads and the budget behind the corporate structure. But as long as you have independent, now I'm going to change on you. I'm switching up. Okay, hold on. For those of you watching,
Hat backwards.
Now I'm the dealer, right? Now I'm the dealer, and you come to me and you want to. The question is, are you just throwing something at the wall and seeing who will stick and find out who's going to be good dealers and who are going to invest in themselves and their products? And is there an expectation that you want me as an independent contractor who's carrying your products as a vendor? I'm going to bring your sheds in. Now I'm mad. You didn't bring me enough sheds, Cord. You're the manufacturer. You didn't bring me enough sheds. I've been requesting more sheds. I could sell more sheds if you would just bring me more sheds. Why don't I have more sheds? I'm getting tired of this. I'm going to have to go find another vendor. I can do that. I'm an independent contractor.
Yeah, I mean, that's an expiring commodity. It's like asking McDonald's for more burgers whenever you're not selling the burgers. They expire. Now, they may expire on a much longer time scale, right? Like you may say that, like, well, that inventory is not the same as a waste product, or you know what I'm saying. It's not literally a burger, right? It doesn't only last 7 days, but it's the same theory, right? And so here's the big thing, right? If I'm a dealer, I'm saying, well, how much built-in demand are you bringing to me, right? How many people are showing up looking for a XYZ shed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because why that's what McDonald's is. And look, this isn't franchising. There's no FDDs. Like franchising is legaled up to the hilt, and it's the business model is not the same. But the concept of like, why does McDonald's not sell Whoppers? Right? Well, because if you do that, McDonald's is going to pull your franchise license. They are no longer going to let you sell Big Macs. Right? Well, why is that a threat? Because there's a built-in market for Big Macs in every place in the country. Right? There is an X number of people who are going to buy a Big Mac and a $3, whatever they're up to now. Value menu's now $5. A $5 double cheeseburger or whatever it is at this point. The Diet Coke that is better than anywhere else. I'm a Diet Coke drinker, and it's true. McDonald's makes them better, right? They make them better, and people go there because of that. But what I'm saying is,
personally a Southern sweet tea kind of guy. Just saying,
fantastic as well. Also unmatched, except for in your grandma's kitchen, right? But that's the threat, right? That's the threat. And now you can obviously do it in a manual way. You can run the leads, you can collect the leads, you can build the demand, right? Like you can have that system operating in the background. And a lot of them, a lot of manufacturers aren't even necessarily doing that, which would be like step one, right? Like control what that lead generation looks like so that the dealer has a known quantity. But the other side of that is like, how much just general marketing are these companies doing that is not strictly lead based, right? McDonald's is not putting a burger in front of you every time, right? Sometimes they're putting the golden arches in a clown back in the day. Ronald McDonald's kind of out these days, but like, you have to build some level of
the Hamburglar. I miss him, Cord.
Yeah. Well, that was super creative.
Sorry.
Right? No, but you're right. Like all of those characters, Grimace, the Hamburglar, we can name them off the top of our head. How much went into a generation of people even knowing what the heck we're talking about right now?
Well, it's become, obviously, when we get down the rabbit hole, McDonald's has become very corporate. Let's bring in AI. Let's get rid of the yellow and the red, the bring them in and the kick them out kind of colors that marketing strategies, did. And then all of a sudden, let's make it look more like a coffee shop. And we still have the playhouse because we can't get away from our roots. Because if you've ever watched Founder, you talk about McDonald's and it being fun. The whole purpose of it was it being fun. Now we've got to mix that fun with serious. Let's bring some college students in, some business people. Let's create a cafe, McCafe. Let's start selling something that people like some coffee that you can't name off the top of your head. And now it's no longer just fun and the kids' meals or whatever. But I'm keeping my hat backwards. But I also think that it's fair to point out, Cord, that, most manufacturers want you to turn your inventory 3 to 4 times. So as a dealer, careful what you wish for. You might get it. If you get, 40 buildings, but you're not turning 120 sales a year, what motivation is it all of a sudden for the manufacturer to bring you more? If you say, bring me more, I'll sell more, but it doesn't actually happen, why are they they're going to start to pull back and scale back a little bit and be like, wait a minute, like you said you'd sell more, but you didn't. And look, if you do, then maybe so be it. You got a good argument or whatever.
If you're a shed dealer or manufacturer, you already know how to sell the practical solutions your customers are seeking. Storage, utility, livestock shelters offer the fix for those day-to-day pain points. But what if part of your lot could do something more? Playmore Swing Sets and Striker Hunting Blinds are proud to be the exclusive providers of outdoor play equipment and hunting structures for the Shed Geek podcast. Because both brands help dealers do something rare in this industry, increase margins while selling fun. Playmore Swing Sets are tall, colorful, and impossible to miss. They turn your lot into instant eye candy and give families a reason to point, stop, and walk your lot. Striker Hunting Blinds bring the same effect, bold, premier structures that attract serious outdoorsmen and carry strong margins with minimal footprint. Together, these structures give shed dealers a powerful advantage, diversification in your product mix, an expanded customer base, and the ability to sell products on the joy they bring, not just function. If you're interested in learning more, just click the link in this episode's newsletter or dial 330-674-3900 and let us know that you heard us on Shed Geek. Playmore Swing Sets and Striker Hunting Blinds, we sell fun, and you can too.
But I'm sticking with the dealers. Hat's still on backwards.
Well, I might catch some hate for this, and maybe I don't know if this is a manufacturer's perspective or if this is just a dose of reality for people. But if your argument is bring me more and I'll sell more, like I just have to be honest. Like, so what are you saying is holding you up in sales? You're saying that because you didn't have that exact model in inventory. Well, how far does that go? Are you saying you can't sell a shed unless it's the exact right size, the exact right style, the exact right color, the exact right trim, right? Is that what you're telling me? You can.
Man, you're giving the business to the dealers over here now, Cord. I gotta fight back.
I'm asking.
I need to push back and defend my dealers because I got my backwards hat on here. So I got to come out with something strong. I'm looking at an AI overview for independent dealer branding, and it says independent dealer branding focuses on building trust, local reputation, and unique, consistent identity to compete with larger franchises. Key strategies include defining a niche, creating a consistent visual identity. Let's talk about video, getting your face out there. We've been preaching it for 5 years. Leveraging community involvement. Like that's one thing the corporate side typically can't do is get in with your chamber of commerce, right? Those are the benefits that you do, whether it's your local charities or whatever. Consistency across digital and physical touch points builds long-term reputation. I mean, there's a whole overview here of defining your unique story, consistent visual and verbal identity, build trust and reputation, leverage digital tools, physical showroom consistency, community, impact of brand consistency. Beautiful things that are free that you just go look up. You just got to know what to prompt or ask Google to be like, what am I doing here? But not to go too long because we're already in the weeds here, but maybe to wrap up and just give you guys something of value and try to break this down into a neat little package that we're giving you is we're saying, if you're a manufacturer, probably specifically 8 million or smaller, or if you're a dealer, this is where these whole concepts start to clash. The only time they really clash on the big guys is for the ones who are going back and saying, we don't have brand consistency. We struggle with what the dealers might say, but we also, I don't want to say don't have the money, but we have not built a system to maximize control of our brand at every level, even with an independent contractor. And how do we do that? And then, like, what's the benefit of an independent contractor to say, I would like to maintain my own brand just in case I decide to switch vendors?
Yeah, they built it. They built it. I mean, the truth is, and this is just coming from franchising, right? Like, you better have franchising. And I hate to be like this because there are some franchise businesses that are truly unique. There's one actually, a guy out of Oklahoma. Oh my goodness, I should be able to call him by name. In fact, he'd be a great guy to have as a guest.
Bring him on.
That is this very specific type of wood. Whenever your wood starts to have degradation, rot, he goes in with this like special kind of epoxy, right? And you can actually, restore the integrity of that without having to do like a full renovation, right? You can go in the crawl space of a house and manage to shore up and extend the life of. I mean, it's epoxy, right? So pretty long lived plastics. So not technically plastic and epoxy, but you know what I'm saying, right? That poly material. And so that's a unique business model. But by and large, like franchising and this idea that like we're going to have independent operators who operate under our brand, which is that like consignment independent dealer model, it just doesn't have all the paper and the legal and everything else binding you to each other. And the payment structure is different, with royalties and all that, but it's the same concept. And like, it's just marketing. It is literally you're coming in for the most part. All of these franchise companies are just saying like, they don't have some secret to plumbing. They don't have some secret to being scooper, like coming. And I mean, this is a real business that people make several $1 million a year off of in big cities, coming and poop scooping your backyard. There's no secret sauce or IP or any kind of trademarked copyrighted. I mean, there is within the marketing materials, right? Scoop a poop, heck, that may be trademarked. We might be getting a cease and desist here, right? But like, but my point is like, you have to just be a marketing company. And so like, if you're not doing the basics, right? If you're not, in this industry, if you are not doing the requisite ad spend, the requisite control of systems, right? Like, you don't necessarily have to be like a franchise top down, dictator when it comes to these things. Like, you have to have some kind of a system that lays over top of your geography, of your geographical service area, and is able to have a known quantity of value of leads for your then independent people to close on, right? And then you take it to that next level, which is like, well, how much inherent brand value is there just in our logo, in our name, right? Like, does the consumer, are they aware that there is a McDonald's and a Burger King and a Taco Bell of this industry? No, they are not, which is a big opportunity. They're aware of Tough Shed, right? Which is at Home Depot and on-site built and display model and all that, right? But they are, so maybe they know that who McDonald's is, right? But are they aware that there is a Burger King or a Taco Bell or, again, I'm just using these as euphemisms.
No, I like it. Yeah, the metaphor works. I mean, we've talked about Buc-ee's for a long time. Like, who will be the Buc-ee's of the shed industry? We've said that for a couple of years because it just, like, you don't have to talk about Buc-ee's. Like, you can say Buc-ee's and it comes with emotion. What is that emotion? Well, like, look, we'll drive an extra 30 miles to go to Buc-ee's because we like their brisket, we like their clean bathrooms, we like their multiple gas, but whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's got an identity. They don't
spend on, I'm talking about traditional spend. How do you get into people's heads? How do you let people know that Burger King exists before they want a burger, right? Like, Buc-ee's does it the opposite way. I mean, they do have a marketing spend. It's almost exclusively billboards. And t-shirts, like billboards, t-shirts, swag. I mean, there are kids, right? Like hip kids, like the cool kids in 17-year-old kids. My daughter's 17. The cool kids. I coach football on the football team, right? they all have a Bucky shirt that's in their rotation of what they wear to school, right?
Uh-huh.
So they're doing it in a different way, experience. But I'll tell you what, they control the heck out of it. They have a footprint. I mean, massive, right? Like but my point is like, again, yeah, of course. How do you transition all these things? Again, it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard. It's really hard to run 4 different in-house agencies that are staffed up, spending money, shooting videos, editing content all day long to make sure that you have 4 subculturally relevant, products that you put out every day. It's all really hard. It takes really good people. And like, how do you navigate it? I mean, you build excellent teams and you control as much as possible, and you better be delivering, both value to your dealers in a known quantity of demand that you are handing off to them to close and get value out of. But you also better be focused on that same building that demand for just your brand, your identity, what it means to be XYZ Shed in the consumer mind. And in my opinion, that is going to come with footprints. That's just my opinion. I think that the companies that figure out how to take, and again, I don't want to call out because there are so many that do it so well, right? The company that is able to figure out how to take this model that we've seen work excellent, which is family owned, mom and pop, call it, something in the neighborhood of 4 to 6,000 square feet, right? Worth like a building, right? Building, you're offering solutions. Now, do you have to physically manufacture all those solutions? I would say, heck no. Like, get over that part of it, right? Find some good partners, but offer the solutions, put in a footprint. Like, that's just my honest opinion, Shannon. Right? Like, I think that.
Hey, I like all the conversation. I think this is a good kickoff to Cord's adventures. Corduroy, as we like to call him around here at Shed Quarters. Let's see if we can get something like that to stick for you, Cord. Just a big fan of what you and Shalisha and so many others do in that space, in that business minded space, whether it be franchising or looking at the whole fractional level of what people need today, especially, I mean, this industry is prime for what you guys do, specifically because they don't really need a full-time in-house person in every category. And that's the benefit of what you guys do. And I won't push that down people's throats here today. I'll let you guys build your brand and do a good job and let that speak for itself. But I'm just a big fan of what you guys do. And we're a big fan at Shed Geek Podcast of being partners with you guys at Growth Ops Ally. I love both of you and what you bring to the table. And like, look, man, this is a good conversation. I know some people could be like, I'm drooling over here. This is boring. What's going on? And others are going to be like, this is great. Go ahead and say what's on your mind. And I'll just tell you, look, it's very simple. You're a independent dealer. You are an independent dealer. You are an independent contractor. You make your choices. Now, that doesn't mean you don't consider your partner, right? But at the same time, you have the ability to do what you want. Now, if you're a manufacturer, you probably want as much of that control, not because you're narcissistically trying to control everybody out there, because you're trying to control your brand. And we all know what happens when the boss says do this and it gets through 3 or 4 different people and it turns into something different than the intention behind what the boss is wanting, right? So when you put a brand out there and you say, hey, we really want to talk about our specific feature and benefit of our shed, XYZ. And then, you put it on your own social media page and you don't appropriately reflect the value proposition of the industry or the manufacturer. I could make the argument that if you're not taking their approach into consideration, shame on you as a dealer, because if you're like, I'm just trying to get mine, I'm just trying to sell as many sheds as I can, get my 10%. I don't care about rent own. I don't care if the customer doesn't keep it. I don't care if they tear it up. I don't care if it's difficult even for the hauler to get in. I just want to sell and get my 10%. I don't think that's a good fit for the industry. And that's probably the boldest I've ever said that on the podcast in 5 years. I just don't.
your hat's still backward. That was a pretty
Oh,
strong,
wait a minute.
that was a pretty
Yeah.
strong statement.
Well, you know what? I was coming from the manufacturer. I should have turned it around.
Well,
I'm sorry.
or just, I mean, but that comes from really good dealers too, right? Because ultimately, if you're a really good dealer in a network, right, and someone down the line, whether it's literally down the road from you or it may be, hundreds of miles away, but they're selling the same thing you're selling and they're representing it in a poor way. You talk about the downfall of a franchise, right? Hardy's can't keep their bathrooms clean. Hardy's can't keep their bathrooms clean, right? And over a period of a decade or 2 decades, like if you can't manage to just do normal stuff and be brand consistent and not turn people off, right? I'm sure that there are some Hardys out there today that are staffed with people who cook great burgers, right? And boy, it's delicious and they are on time and whatever else. But because, 500 Hardys somehow, I mean, this is like a universal experience, couldn't manage to keep their bathrooms clean, right? You're going out of business or you're on your way to it. And so, if you're that dealer who's like really good and somebody else is tarnishing that sort of big B brand, that you need to have that brand consistency and that, high value in the consumer, in the consumer consciousness or whatever else, that hurts you too. Man, there's so many.
I'm not going to be first in line, Cord. I'm not going to be first in line out here to defend millionaire CEOs who make a lot of money. But I'm going to tell you right now, this is why they make it, is because they come in and fix that issue.
It's hard. That's
just saying. I'm just saying they come in and they fix that issue. So where is the value of one man or woman being a CEO and making all that money? I agree with you. There's no amount of hours in the day they can work to accomplish that. It's the decision making, because really decisions are what set you apart from being 100-aire to 1,000-aire to a millionaire to a billionaire. And they're making the right decisions that's going to get them back on track. So that's where they earn their value. It's kind of like being and we're going to go on this note, but this is kind of like being a shed hauler. It's like when somebody calls and says, will you move my shed? And they say, sure, I will. It's going to be, $750. What do you mean, for 45 minutes? You're not paying me for the 45 minutes. You're paying me for the 20 years I've got, the $30,000 in insurance I pay for, the $250,000 rig it takes to move this. You're not paying me for the time. You're paying me for the experience to get out here and do it and not tear your shed apart, hopefully. Right. So it doesn't have to do with the time. It has to do with the value that I'm bringing.
Yep. 100%. No. You're right. They're big challenges. It's a challenge to deliver that value to the end customer, not just shed haulers is probably a good example of this, right? Like, what is the value of a shed hauler? Obviously you get the shed where it's supposed to go and it's blocked up right, or it's, what I mean? Like everything about the actual delivery goes well, right? But how much of a return experience is dependent on that shed hauler being the last person that they see, they perceive as being a part of that situation. So how valuable is if you're 80% the actual hauler and blocker and mule driver as the other guy, but gosh, you always shake their hand, you always give them a smile, you always tell a little joke that gets everybody laughing and feeling good, and maybe you even encourage them to leave a review, whatever it might be, right? Like,
it's worth your weight in gold if you're a hauler who's going through all those details. I'm going to let everybody off the hook here since we're at the very end of it and tell you, well, Shannon, it sounds like you was really siding with the manufacturer, or Shannon, it really sounded like you were siding with the dealers. I'm just here to tell you, I am neither. I am in support of both of you. And you know what? Maybe I'm being a little bit critical of both too. So please forgive me. We're just trying to have conversation that matters over here on the Shed Geek podcast. And I think this is a great way to start. Corduroy, sorry. I know I'm throwing you under the bus with the corduroy stuff. Cord's Business Friday podcast extravaganza launch, if that's what you want to call it. I'm super excited to listen to you because me and you have these conversations off air all the time, and I'm so excited to what you're bringing to the table. You're a good friend. You're a great business partner. You're a good husband and father. I love you as a friend, as a brother, and I'm so excited to be on this journey with you as we move forward.
Well, thank you, Shannon. And obviously, I reciprocate all those things. We've had fun on air together, but I think that we can bring, some different value, not value where one surpasses the other or where we're even in competition in that way. But I think that we can bring some different types of value to the industry, and that's what Shed Geek is, man. And that's why I love you, love the brand, love being here, and we're gonna keep on delivering exactly what the industry expects out of us.
The Bible says that love covers a multitude of sins. I'm a firm believer that helping people covers a multitude of deficiencies. So forgive us where we fail, guys, but we try to add value where we can. Thank you, Cord, for doing all that you do. I'm excited about this launch and your new Friday shows, and I'm your biggest fan already.
Thank you. Let's get with it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen. We'll see you guys soon. Stay tuned.
Thanks again, ShedPro, for being the Shed Geeks studio sponsor. If you need any more information about ShedPro or about Shed Geek, just reach out. You can reach us by email at info@shedgeek.com or just go to our website, www.shedgeek.com, and submit a form with your information, and we'll be in contact right away. Thank you again for listening, as always, to today's episode of the Shed Geek Podcast. Thank you and have a blessed day.